quarians. The quarian involvement in this game was so much better. The quarians just never held their place as like a race in the galaxy. They were always just like, you know, shunned off to the side because they had created the Geth, and they were off in their flotillas, and they didn't want to include them. They were always off, you know, somewhere in space. And the only way that you really knew the quarians was in Mass Effect 1. It was pretty much through Tali. That was it. In Mass Effect 2 was through Tali's loyalty mission. That's when you really got to, you know, you went on one of the quarian ships, and that was awesome. So you got a good understanding as how they are in a society, in Mass Effect 2. But then in Mass Effect 3, you really saw them as a force that really could benefit you, and I loved that involvement of the quarians. And in Mass Effect 2, I hated the admirals. I thought the admirals were so annoying. I was just like, oh my god, these guys are so stupid. And in Mass Effect 3, I adored the admirals. I thought they were so much improved, such awesome characters. All of them. Even Han Garel. Like, Han Garel is the freaking jerk. He's played by, I forgot his voice actor, but the guy that plays Loghain from Dragon Age. That guy always plays the jerks. He's got that jerky voice, but he's awesome. I love his voice. And I loved them all. I really fell in love with Chorus, Admiral Chorus, the one that you have to go and save, because he got, like, his ship crash landed and you needed him to be with the civilians and all that. And he wanted to stay with his unit, and he was like, no, go save them, don't save me. And I just fell in love with him. I was like, oh my god, he's so cool. And I really grew, like, more of an attachment to the quarians with Mass Effect 3, because it just you really got to see how much they are misplaced, how much they're suffering in the galaxy, how much they're fighting for their planet, for their freedom, you know, to not be freaking off in space all the time. And I mean, even during the Reaper War, the quarians are over here still fighting the Geth. They're just like, you know what, this is more important right now. You know, we need our planet. We're almost gonna take it, and then, you know, we'll help you guys, but, you know, help us here. I really grew to love the quarians even more than I already did in Mass Effect 3. Another thing that I loved about Mass Effect 3 that I didn't think I was gonna like, I held judgment before I played Mass Effect 3. I was like, you know what, I don't think I'm gonna be a big fan. I'm not a big fan of how he looks like. I was just like, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just saying that I don't think I'm a big fan of him. Was James Vega, and I turned out to be, it was like a complete 360, because I started off as like, oh, I don't like him, but then I just started playing, and I started to hear what he had to say and what his personality was like, and I was just like, this guy's awesome. I loved Vega. I thought Vega was so cool. The conversation, some of the conversations with Vega were some of my favorite. He just had so much to say, and I really loved his personality and how they were using him in the story. And it seems like BioWare really likes Vega as well, because they're incorporating him in so many other things. I believe he's going to be a character in the Mass Effect 3, or in the Mass Effect animation and the anime. I'm pretty sure Vega's in there. I saw the trailer in it, and the drawing. I mean, it's obviously Vega. It's got a little mohawk and the significant tattoos here. So I was like, Mac Walters has said multiple times that his favorite character to write was Vega, and I can see why, because he's got some really cool lines. One of my favorite moments was with Vega, between Vega and Garrus, and they're talking like on the Normandy, in the, what's it called, the mess hall, like where the kitchen is, and Vega and Garrus, they're just like talking about, they're playing this game to see who has witnessed like the worst scenario, who has gone through the worst fight or the worst scenario, and Garrus is talking about, like, he mentioned the fight with Saren and all that, and James mentions his, and they're just like trying to top each other. Garrus, he says, yeah, I know this guy named Jimmy Vega. He sounds like a pole dancer. And then he says, they start saying how he's like, and we went up against the Reapers and stuff like that. And then Vega's like, yeah, I know this guy also named Garrus Vicarian. He's alright and stuff like that. And then they start talking about the Reapers. And then Garrus says, with the help of some of our friends. And then Vega says, no, it's just us. And then he goes, but mostly me though. He was my go-to guy. Like, he was the one that I would always take on my squad. I liked the firing range in the Spectre office on the Citadel. The firing range was pretty useful sometimes. It was kind of inaccurate, but it really let you see how different guns how much damage it would do on shields or armor, or I think they had not barriers. Shields, armor, and health. Gave you an idea of what the gun was like in long range and short range and stuff like that. Like I said, it was kind of inaccurate, but it was kind of a cool thing. Also, the Omni Blade attacks, those were pretty cool. I really loved using them. Like, sometimes I would overuse it, but they were a nice addition to the games. I remember when I was playing the demo of Mass Effect 3, and then I went to playing Mass Effect 2, I was trying to do the Omni Blade attack, and I was like, damn it! So it's just like, it's completely different, but it's an awesome addition to it, because then you miss it when you don't have it. Another thing that I really loved was how evident it was this time around, the bond between you and Anderson. It just really, really made it look and feel like you almost looked at Anderson not only as a friend, but almost like a father figure. Like, he was, and Anderson looked at you as more than just a friend, like kind of like you were. I mean, in the end, at the very end, if you're a male shepherd, he says, he calls you, I think he says my boy, something like that. Some kind of word that signifies that. And if you're femme shep, he says my child. So it's just very touching. It's kind of like, whoa, wait, what? Anderson just said that to me? But it really, it was a nice touch, because it just really pronounced that relationship between you and Anderson. And even before then, when you see him again, you get to hug him, and when you say sir or admiral, he says don't call me that or something like that, or I thought we were past that, and then you'd call him Anderson. I love the interaction between you and Anderson, even though a lot of it was not face to face. It was a lot more pleasing and a lot more satisfying this time around than in the previous games. Now, the things that I didn't really like about the game, because as much as I loved it, there were things that were kind of frustrating, kind of annoying. One of the major things that I was pretty disappointed with was Aria's involvement. I mean, I thought Aria was going to play a big role. Now, this might be left for DLC, who knows, like Taking Back Omega. I've heard that, people are speculating that, and that would be awesome, hopefully, but I would have loved to see it in the game. It probably would have made the game even way bigger, like way longer, but it would have been nice. I mean, Aria is such an awesome character. I would have loved to see more of her. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I know there's a lot of people that love Aria, and we're expecting a lot of stuff with Aria. One of the things was also, not just the Omega thing, but an interaction between her and Rex. Because of that whole speculation that Aria and Rex knew each other from way back when, because of some dialogue that Rex said in Mass Effect 1 and some dialogue that Aria said in Mass Effect 2. I would have loved to see that. The reason why I'm so disappointed with that is because I just really love Aria, and I would have loved to see more of her, but she was just sitting there. As much as I loved the interaction that you had with Aria, I would have loved to see more. I mentioned the Ashley romance. I was pretty disappointed with the Ashley romance. Because it wasn't very fulfilling. It was kind of bland. Ashley pretty much doubted you for the longest time throughout the relationship. I mean, you throughout the whole, almost through the whole game, she was really distant with you, and it was just like, really? Come on. Like, I really wanted more in that relationship, but I mean, it just didn't really work for me, especially since I've seen the other relationships. I think, in my opinion, the best relationships, the way that they play out are Liara. Liara is a great relationship with what I've seen. And Caden, to be, like, it was really surprising to me. But the Caden relationship, I thought was really cool. Like, I really liked that relationship. The way that it played out. You could really tell that Caden has always loved you, and no matter what, like, he's, like, I think when he asks you about Garrus or something like that, he says, nothing's changed with me, like, kind of saying, like, I still love you. And the romance scene is really cool. I really like the Caden romance scene. And even the male Shep romance scene or the male Shep romance in total with Caden was really good. They did a good job about it. I mean, at least in my opinion. I've seen the scenes that I've seen. I haven't seen all the scenes, but I have seen the romance scene and the scene where they're talking on the Citadel, like when you instigate the romance. I really like that. I was just like, that was really, like, it worked. It fit, and it felt right. But the Ashley romance scene was just, it was kind of bland, in my opinion, which is kind of sad, but whatever. Another huge disappointment was Cal Rieger. I was almost 100% sure that Cal Rieger was going to be at least making an appearance. I was like, oh my god, that'd be so cool if he could be on your squad. But he wasn't. He didn't even make an appearance. I heard it was because BioWare couldn't get the voice actor. Okay, but they killed him. They killed him off. You get a message saying that he died. And it was just like, oh, man. I really loved Cal Rieger. I would have loved to see more of him. I mean, I could understand that it was because they couldn't get the voice actor, but that was kind of a letdown. I was just like, oh, I wanted to see Cal Rieger. I loved Cal Rieger. When it comes to the whole scanning, I didn't mind the scanning the planets. What I did mind, though, is that you had such little fuel. Like, in Mass Effect 2, you had so much more fuel, because you could upgrade the Normandy and have more fuel. Like, more capacity for fuel. And then this one, you couldn't, and you had a little bit of fuel. Like, you had to be buying fuel all the time, or trying to find for fuel. That was cool that you could find fuel, but just running out of fuel all the time. I ran out of fuel like 4 times while I was crossing the nebulas, crossing the little, from system to system. And I was just like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. Like, I don't know what happens if you do that for very long, but that was kind of stupid. Like, it was way too little fuel for me. The weapon customization was better than Mass Effect 2, obviously, because it gave you a little more. I mean, it gave you customization, but it was way better in Mass Effect 1, still, in my opinion, because in Mass Effect 1, you could change the thermal clips. Like, what thermal clips you wanted. If you wanted a cryo, you could use cryo. If you didn't want to use cryo in that specific mission, if you were going to go up against, say, I don't know, synthetics or something, you could use disruptor ammo instead, and you could just, like, change it for you and for your squad. So that's why I preferred the customization for Mass Effect 1, because you could change the ammo and the thermal clips, and that's always a huge thing for me. For specific situations, you want different types of ammo. There was no armor customization like there was in Mass Effect 1. There was slight armor customization for you and your squad, but not like, because in Mass Effect 1 you could put different parts, like you could put something that would protect you against like actual upgrades for your armor, and not just points, added points, like this adds points to your headshot. No, I mean like upgrades to your armor where you could put them on and take them off, and you could put something different. Again, depending on your mission, you would want to wear this and this, because you could put like 2, I think it was 2 upgrades. or if you're going up against biotics, put this and this or something like that. There were some, there were a lot, but not to the point where I was like, oh my god, this is so stupid. A lot of glitches, little glitches. I didn't encounter huge glitches, but a lot of little glitches, especially in cinematics. That's when it really bothered me, when there was a huge, like a bad glitch when it came to the cinematic, when you were just like, oh, that just killed it. That killed the moment. Like, Shepard and Ashley's first kiss on the Citadel, it looks like Shepard's gonna eat Ashley's nose off or something, or like Shepard's going through Ashley, and it's just like, oh my god, that looks painful. It just didn't work. It killed the moment. It was like, oh man, seriously? Like, they got it so wrong. It just looked so bad. But things like that, there's minor little glitches here and there. Then there was, of course, in some parts there the audio syncing was off with the lip syncing. It was off. It wasn't too bad, but I started to not even notice it further in the game. The beginning I did notice it more, but after that I didn't notice it that much anymore. I guess I got used to it or something.